Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Life. This is an editorial design stream. We're here with Anjela Freyja.
Hi everyone.
Angela, say hi. It's
Hi
so good
guys.
to so good to have you here. Some of you might have been here yesterday. Angela has started off with an amazing book design on how to survive a pandemic. So it was super fun. We had some really amazing things going. And we have some amazing people in the chat. So thank you so much everyone for joining. We have Jatermia, Lamont, Henry, Sydney, and Emma. So good. Yeah, happy and creative. Am I saying glad to see you? Happy and creative New Year. Thank you so much. Happy and creative New Year to all of you guys too. Hopefully this year will be, something where we can learn from the last year. And so this is what we're going to be talking about a lot today: how to take care of yourself during a pandemic and so on. So really cool. Guys, let's jump quickly onto my screen, and I want to share with you about something about the daily creative challenges. So for all of you who are new to this, make sure to head over to be.net/live/challenge/illustrator. This is where you will be able to see our daily creative challenge page. So you can go here and take the daily challenge. You can take challenges in Illustrator, Photoshop, or Adobe XD. So really cool. And Andrew just literally introduced today's challenge, which was about making a map. So you can rewatch the video if you want to participate in the challenge, and make sure to submit the challenges. Later on, we'll have an artist spotlight, which is going to be super fun as well. So above the chat, you will see the artist spotlight section where you can nominate either yourself or some friends who are super talented, and maybe they will get the chance to be on our artist spotlight next time. So very cool thing to check out, and to kind of give a little bit of an introduction to creatives every single time. So thanks everyone for joining. Super cool. We have some amazing people. Vuduval is joining, and Sydney and Ruthwick. All right, Angela, let's recap a little bit what we did yesterday, and let's jump onto into today's work.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of us who weren't with us yesterday, I'll just do a quick recap of what we accomplished, what our vision was. So we're creating a book today called How to Survive a Pandemic, Self-Care Tips from 2020. But it's not really self-care tips so much. It's more just kind of funny and interesting ways that we can pass the time, sort of quirky, a playful approach to this really tough year. And then obviously, how do we make this book with really cool and interesting and modern design, with really interesting typography, all the things we love about design. So let me recap what we created yesterday, and then I'll go through a quick recap of our grid system, our Adobe InDesign setup, and then we'll jump into creating new things.
Cool. And Henry's asking, what apps are we using? Yesterday we've been using InDesign and Photoshop, and I believe today we will do the same, right, Angela?
Exactly, yep. We're going to be using InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator, and hopefully for the last 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how to do a really beautiful mock-up for your Behance, for your portfolio, if we have time, which could be really nice. So just to do a quick recap of everything we created yesterday, here's some of our spreads that each one has a really interesting and sort of funny thing that you can do in quarantine. So refresh your Greek mythology, fall into a Wikipedia rabbit hole. So we've got really cool photos. We're using borders around all of our photos here just to keep it feeling a bit more modern and interesting. Grow a garden, get involved in politics, run for office, reconnect with nature. So you'll see throughout the book, we have really cohesive visual language, a really cohesive visual language being used throughout the book. Get divorced, become a mixologist, read all the books you've ever wanted to, become a web sleuth, learn French, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, whatever, your choice. Spend 3 hours in the bath, call your friends, make sure they're okay, call your friends and make sure that you're okay. So we had two options here. Go for a really long drive, try sobriety, it's a nice one. And that's where we left off. So
yay, super cool. Let us know in the chat what you guys think is your favorite so far.
Yeah,
We
I'd
have
love to
some
know.
really, really cool spreads here. And one of my favorites is Get Involved in Politics and Run for Office. The red one, I think it's my absolute favorite. I love the arc on it, and it just looks really, really powerful.
I love this
Super
one
cool.
too. So
Yeah.
interestingly, we didn't get too far yesterday. We only got like, I think like 10 done, and there's there's 40, and we added 2 yesterday from your suggestions. So let's see if we can get through more today. We'll try and get through it. And let's do a quick recap of our grid system. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. So we have a grid system in our master pages. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 masters with 5 different colors. And then our main color is white, of course. So we have a 12 column grid with, you know, a nice size gutter in between so that we can use these lines as our visual guidelines in the design. And then up here we have our titles on either page. I decided not to have page numbers, but you know, if you ever did want to add page numbers on your masters, click your text box. You're going to want to go up here to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. So this is a really easy way that you can add your page numbers to your documents, and then you just position it, style it however you want to. We created our character styles yesterday. Just to recap, we have got, let me show you. Let's paste a placeholder text. That's too much. So we are working with a font editorial. So we're using,
which, by the way, is an amazing typeface. You can literally do so much with it, and that's what we noticed yesterday. You can use it in caps, you can use it in lowercase, and then you can space it out, and you can also pull it together like in this spread. So really, really amazing typeface.
Yeah, it's really nice. And we have it at -100, which I think is too much. So 75 is better. So we're using it as a bold typeface, and then we're also using it as a lowercase typeface, as well as the light version of the font. So editorial new lights. And then we have a paragraph font or a body font, which is Swiss International Condensed Light. So it's a condensed font that I chose to complement the condensed serif, but the condensed Swiss font is just a little bit easier to read when it's smaller and it's a paragraph, which is always really important to me.
Yeah.
So should we start designing?
Yeah, let's do it. Ruthwick is saying this type is just too good.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. And it's from Pangram, which is a really nice foundry. And the fonts are really affordable. So I definitely recommend checking them out.
Taking notes.
Yeah, exactly. I always want to like plug other great designers who are doing great work.
Yes, I love that. I think that's
Yeah,
so important. And there are some
definitely.
things we don't learn in design school, or people who just, self-starters who don't even go to school like you and I. We are,
It's true.
we taught graphic design to ourselves. So it's always good to
Exactly.
get some really cool insider tips from other designers.
Exactly. Agreed. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do today. So we're going to make a few other slides. We're going to make a table of contents, and it's going to be not your typical table of contents. I kind of want to create something that's really abstract and something that we haven't really seen before. And then we're going to do the cover and then maybe some mock-ups. So let's get started. Maybe we could try, let's see. Become an occultist. I know, it's a funny one.
So good. Did you make the list yourself, or did you ask some friends or your partner?
I did ask friends, I asked family, I asked a whole bunch of people their ideas and opinions on this one. Most of them I came up with myself, just doing research on the internet, scouring Reddit forums, and then just sort of using my imagination. And then some are suggestions from friends as well. So for Become an Occultist, I think we should do a black background because that's kind of spooky, no?
Yeah, it is. I agree.
And then, so over here on my desktop,
yeah,
these are all of our photographs that we're using for the project.
Oh my gosh, this is so spooky. That's
I
so
know.
cool. It works so well with also, it's black and white and
Yeah.
background is dark.
Yeah.
It gives me goosebumps.
I know, me too. I find that I think it's like a 19th century photo. I find like
Yeah.
anything from the 19th century to be fairly creepy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Because that's what we see in movies, as being
Hmm.
ghosts, the ghosts that look
Exactly.
like they're from the 19th century.
Exactly. So I thought we could use circle frames for this one because, throughout the project, we've been using a lot of squares, and when we have some arcs here. So I thought, let's just keep going with that geometry and try using different shapes and see where that gets us. So I think using circles is a fun
Sure.
option.
Mix
We
it
do,
up.
yeah. And over here, just so you guys are reminded, we do have our swatches. So these are our 5 colors that we're working with, and we're only working with these 5 colors.
Yeah, cool. Susanna is asking, is the list an app or something? I think it's just a notes app or some what's it called again, where you can just write anything into it.
It's just
It's
text edit.
just text edit. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing crazy. You can literally put the list into any app that you have where you can write text into it. You can even put it right into your InDesign document.
Yep. Yep, for sure. So I'm clicking W to go back and forth from my preview to my print preview, or sorry, from my like technical space to my print preview. I use this tool constantly to always make sure that what I'm doing looks clean and professional, because sometimes the grid and all the lines and stuff can make you feel like it's a bit chaotic. So I'm always switching back and forth.
Cool. And Vuduval is posting the typefaces. If you guys are interested in using the exact same typefaces, Vuduval just posted them into the chat. One is from, you can find on typewolf.com. By the way, Angela, do you know Typewolf?
I do.
It's a pretty cool page where you can find font pairings, and you can find alternatives to fonts that are available on Adobe fonts. So super cool. So you can find the editorial typeface on Typewolf and also the Swiss one. You can find them both there.
Mm-hmm.
So
and there's some really nice alternatives to editorial. I've been doing lots of research around these fonts, so I'm happy to share some with you, because editorial is used a lot. So if you're looking for something a bit more interesting, off the top of my head, we've got editorial here, but then one of my other favorites is Roslindale. So this is a nice condensed. So it's a bit of a different vibe, but
I love that. I love how these C's kind of have this rounded edge, so it works super well next to an O.
Yeah, me too. And then another great one is Times condensed. This is like a classic Times New Roman condensed. Ooh. So it's similar to editorial, but if you're sort of a classicist and you like that classic style, I think Times New Roman condensed is pretty cool. So that's awesome. My list.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Love that. Kenneth is saying, this looks so cool. Yay.
Oh, thank you.
I love that too.
Let's see, become an occultist. And then let's double click.
Very nice. By the way, guys, if you want to ask questions, Angela is always happy to answer freelance, working with agencies questions that are in InDesign or Photoshop related. So this is your chance. And yesterday we've been talking a little bit about your background. Angela has been working with some amazing agencies out there, and so she's the right person to ask if you want to know literally anything about that. And
ask away.
Cool. Ruthwick is saying, damn, I want to steal Angela's computer now. All these fonts making me jealous.
I know, but sometimes they really slow my computer down. I think this is looking quite cool. I might maybe resize these a little bit. There we go. I think that's quite nice. I'm really enjoying using these circles. I think it keeps it feeling dynamic and interesting.
I think yesterday we had a question about how you resize the fonts, and I think you just did that. So you've selected the 2 typefaces, and I think people wanted to know the shortcut of how you just size them down.
Yeah, definitely. So click on your text, and then up here, you've got these arrows that point to the right or down. You can click whatever one you want to. It's just going to change the direction of the resize. So you're basically changing it from 100% to 99, 98, 97. You could resize it to, 50% smaller, or you
Okay.
can go 200% bigger.
That's cool. So that way you
Yeah.
can also select multiple text boxes and
Yeah,
resize them in percentages at the same time.
exactly.
I really like that. I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
It's really
I wonder
convenient to
if they
use.
have that in Illustrator as well,
Yeah.
because that's one thing that I always struggle with is resizing multiple things at the same time. It's just so time
Yeah, it's true.
consuming.
It is time consuming. Yeah. And like even here, because you want everything to be cohesive, right? In its size. So if you wanted to just select all of them, and then, if you don't want to risk it, sometimes I'll do a Command G, which puts it in a group. It's going to make it much easier to manage. And then you can just, go 25% and
Yeah,
it's done.
that's awesome. I see in Illustrator you can do a vertical and a horizontal resize, but I don't see any just proportional resize in
I'll check that
percentages.
out. I'll check that
So
out.
Illustrator team, please. We need that feature in Illustrator.
Yeah, it's true. I'll check that out later and we'll see. Okay, so let's go back to our design, I think.
By the way, guys, just to mention real quick, if you have anything like this where you notice, hey, it would be great to have that feature, you can go onto user voice from the app that you're using. So just Google user voice and the app that you're looking for. And there's always a page from Adobe where you can give inputs. You can give feedback and you can suggest, features. And so the way that Adobe adds those features is by, taking a look at the user voice and taking a look at what features are most requested. And they are really like working through those features that are most requested and that most people want to have. So it's really, really cool. And if you have a couple seconds of time, it could totally, improve your own experience in the future. So definitely check it out. Your voice is not left unheard.
That is true. Actually, I've done that before. I've like put in suggestions, and sometimes, I'm not saying that they listen to me, but maybe multiple people have made the suggestion. And whenever we do updates, we're always like so pleasantly surprised. So it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
So this one's going to become closer with your animals, which is one of my favorite ones and something that I have definitely done. I think my cat will go into like shock if he didn't see a human every day now.
Same here with my dog, but I'm working from home, fortunately. So things won't change that quick in the future. I'm thinking. True. So it's great. My dog is enjoying it. Let us know in the chat if your pet also enjoyed your presence during COVID.
Yeah.
And also let us know. Also, let us know what kind of pets you guys have and their names. I would love to know that.
So for this spread here, we're going to be using 2 photos on top. Again, I'm trying to keep it dynamic. I'm trying to think of ways that we can keep each layout feeling unique and fresh so that we don't repeat too much. I think this is something that is going to keep the magazine feeling compelling, or the book compelling, as you're going through each page. Because these are going to be next to each other, I'm going to incorporate a black line along the bottom. Because we've got borders along the edges of all the pictures, I want to keep that consistency even when the structure is a little bit different.
Cool. Oh, I love those images. I think they have so much power, and it's just so cool.
And because we covered our titles, I'm just going to copy them and paste them back over the photographs. So it's sort of like a short solution, a quick solution to bringing your titles back when they're hidden. And I kind of want to resize this really big, but first, I think we should integrate our script type. which we haven't used a lot, but I kind of want to use it in a few places throughout the book just for fun. One good thing to know, yeah, with script fonts, it's really tough to keep your kerning really low because sometimes it actually disrupts the flow of the letters. So I always keep my script fonts at 0, just in case.
Cool. And then yeah, of course, you want to keep the connection between the letters so it runs smoothly into each other. Yeah, totally agree. By the way, I love this color in the background, and then in combination with the two typefaces, one you know, being slanted and one being straight. I think that's such a modern and trendy thing to do. I'm really in love with that.
Yeah, I like that too. And then
I used that for branding recently.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. I like to combine types, keep it interesting. I think that's nice. Yeah. And maybe we can do 2 paragraphs here. So let's sling this over to our grid. I've never used that word before, sling.
Yep. We always invent new words while working. We have one of our evangelists in XD. He's always saying boop. So whenever he's pasting something, and here it is, boop.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah. Super cool.
Okay, so we have become closer with our animals done.
And we have our Linda here with a cat with the name Pookie. That's so cute.
Oh, that's really cute.
Angela, what was your cat's name again?
Sashimi.
Sashimi. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I love it.
His full name is Sashimi Linguini Tortellini Fettuccine Alfredo. That's his full name.
Oh my gosh. My dog's name is Blondie, and then her last name is Chief because she's Miss Chief.
Oh, that's nice.
And so when we made her service animal, we actually put on her ID Blondie Chief.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
So I think the next one we'll do is kind of an important one, and one that I think will resonate for most of us. This one is, let me put it on in white.
Jessica is saying Howard Pinsky says boop. Yep, that's the one I was talking about. I am saying brown dog named Hershey. That's so cool. I love that.
That's nice.
Such creative names.
So this one says, educate yourself on racial and social injustice, find ways to make changes and advocate for others in your personal and professional life. And I think, you know, with the Black Lives Matters protest this year, this is something that is really, really important for all of us to integrate into our daily lives. And it was really important for me to include it as one of our lessons or things that we can take away from this year.
Yeah, total.
So let's see, I kind of want to keep this one very minimal because I think it's important. And let's see.
I think we've all learned so much this year. Mm-hmm. When you become aware of things, that's exactly the point where you should start educating yourself even further and really learn about things.
And even as designers and art directors, we all play a role in this. And it's all our responsibility to advocate for others and, you know, push others up and really, really hold ourselves accountable and responsible.
Yes, totally agree.
Okay, let's see where my photos are for this one.
Woodwell is saying, I have a very small dog hair, very small long-haired dog. Very small long-haired Chihuahua, not dog. His name is Pee Harmon.
Oh, that's a nice name. Cool. Okay, let's see. So we've got this picture.
Alejandro's cat's name is Cannoli.
Cannoli, like the Italian snack.
Yeah. And Sydney's saying, I have a dog named Dax. Really nice.
Oh, that's super nice.
Very nice.
Okay, I think what we can do for this one is incorporate, really powerful photos throughout the spread, because I feel like photos and typography sometimes can communicate things in really powerful ways, and we can use design to communicate powerful things.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So let's incorporate 4 photos here. And then let's put the text behind it. So normally when I'm working with photographs over a spread, I'm going to use the photographs over the spread to begin with, and then I will change it afterwards. So let's just make this work.
Yeah, that way you can see a good layout better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's move these around a little bit.
And also you don't want to cover any of the important words and make them unlegible by not creating too much contrast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally see. Yeah, arrangement of images like that, just randomly on a spread, can be sometimes really difficult because every image is different. And then you have, white space that kind of appears if an image is too dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, it can be tricky.
It's tricky, yeah.
I think this is looking good so far, though.
Yeah, I love it. I think just whatever you make, I'm just in love with it because I just love the style, and I think, this aesthetic is just super.
Thank you. Yeah. It's interesting, the idea. I mean, throughout my life, I've always liked the idea of using design and photography as a tool to communicate things. That's what design is, right? It's a communication tool. And we can, as humans, use these tools to communicate really important things, advocate for others. It's always something that I've tried to incorporate into my work because design doesn't always have to be about commercialism. We can use design as art and as a political tool. So I definitely recommend, I definitely encourage that,
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think this one's
And I think we should all do that. We should all encourage that as designers. And I see a lot of, things like that happening online. And that actually makes me happy, that people don't only use design to create beautiful things, but also have an important message behind them.
Exactly. Okay, so this one I think is finished. Educate yourself on racial and social injustice. I think this is a really nice one. I think it fits in well with this book because I like the idea of having some that are interesting and funny and some that are more serious,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
It's going to be a roller coaster of emotion.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, just like this year.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, how about we do doom scroll for hours? I think this is a funny one because I do it all the time, doom scrolling. I'm sure you guys do it too.
Yeah.
Doom scroll for hours. Yikes. I think I did this last night, actually. I think I did this morning. Oh my. Yeah. So I think for this one, it could be fun to use circles again.
Rudvik is saying just came here from doing that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we do in 2021. Wow.
Yeah. And sometimes, I see an ad while doom scrolling and, I'll click on that ad, and in the best case, it's something educational because then it'll remind me of what I should be doing.
It's true. This is kind of interesting. I like the idea. I'm going to leave this off the spread for now because it's distracting me. I do think it's cool to use, I've been really interested in like using shapes as sort of they're growing shapes. It's something I've been doing a lot lately and I think it's really fun. So
yeah, I like that too. I have also seen this one graphic, and it was literally everywhere on Instagram. With the globes that also it looks like a globe basically with those lines on them, and then it has a gradient in it, and then there are two globes next to each other, and the gradient continues from one globe to the other.
That's really beautiful. Graphic. I love that. Yeah. I feel like I've seen it. I feel like I've seen that. Okay, let's try it like this. I think this is cool.
Yeah. This also kind of gives it a three-dimensionality, right? It looks like those circles are kind of going around the curve.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Cool. Okay, I really loved this phone. I think it's funny, we're talking about doom scrolling on like our iPhones, to just use a picture of a really old 80s phone. I wish I had this phone. Like, wouldn't that be so
Okay,
satisfying to use
I
this?
had a phone like that back then, and so when I was a child, we lived in Ukraine, in the Ukraine.
Okay.
So we still had phones like that. So let me
Wow.
know in the chat, guys, who of you still got to experience these phones, these huge, you know, kind of mobile, but not really mobile. It's just a phone without a cord, basically, that you can use at home, right? Or is this a mobile phone already?
I think this is a mobile phone, but it's like, it's so fun though. I would love to use that.
Yeah.
Imagine like hanging up on someone with this phone. Well, I think the flip phone is the most satisfying.
Yeah, right.
So
Or those big telephones from like the 60s, the one where you have the thing on top where you just like bling, like put it back on top.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like the rotary phones?
Yes, exactly. Where
Yeah.
you go, and then when you hang up, it goes like bling.
It's so satisfying. That's so
we
satisfying.
had one like those as well. I'm a 90s kid, guys. 90s kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, let's see.
So here, let's see in the chat. Voodoo Val is saying my mom had one. Ruthwick is saying, yep, cordless phone. Alejandro is saying it's a Motorola. And Bruce is saying the bricks. Yes, exactly. They look like a big brick, and they had a little tiny antenna on top of them. And those were the first phones, basically, that didn't have a cord, and you can use them in your house. So yeah, we had one of those.
Also, if anyone doesn't know what doom scrolling is, because if there's anyone who's just unfamiliar with the lingo, it's when you are just like scrolling to your doom on social media. Like I'll do it with news sometimes. I'll just like scroll through news until I feel like, you know, pretty dark, or even Instagram. I think you can doom scroll on Instagram, right?
I think Instagram is made for doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Literally, because you can endlessly scroll for hours, and then you can go on a specific page and again scroll for hours.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
just so much scrolling.
So much scrolling. Oh, there was something I had to do to this slide to keep it consistent. We have to add our borders, right? Can't forget about that. Let's add our borders. 2, 3.
That's so funny. Ludwig is saying could break someone's head with that phone.
Yeah, you could. But I wish I had one. I wish I had one.
Yeah,
okay.
Those were so cool. Good question. Vuduval is asking, because I'm less familiar with InDesign, how did you add in the oval shapes? How did you add the pictures in the oval shapes?
Oh yeah, for sure, no problem. So you want to take any of your shapes over here. We could even do a square, or we could do a polygon, and then you just resize it. Let's fill it with cyan. And then let's say you have a picture, any picture at all, this beautiful painting of the sky. You copy it, you click your shape, and you go edit, paste into, and there you go. It's like a clipping mask, but easier.
Or can you also just select the shape and then Command D and then put the image in it? Select the image for it?
You could select it, Command D. Command D is basically your shortcut for place. And then you just want to place anything at all. So this waterfall, it's going to trigger your Finder to open.
Yep, so there are multiple ways to do it.
I really like this spread. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. It's cool.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, so let's doom scroll for hours. We have that one done. We have educate yourself done. Let's see, how about we do start a life in a new city? It's kind of a scary one, but
yeah,
could be nice. Start a life, so let's go to our character styles over here. I have a nice picture for this one.
Okay, who of you has started a new life in a new city this year or last year? I have. I have moved. And also, I am a person who moves a lot from place to place. So, yep, that's the reality of my situation.
Yeah, that can be inspiring though. You know, sometimes it's good for our brains to see new things. And
I agree. Yeah.
You know,
what about saying I did? Well, I'd love to know where'd you move to. I remember you were by San Francisco area somewhere. I would love to know where you moved. And Termia also did. Yes, Rachel is saying shockingly, yes, new country even.
Wow, a lot of
Wow.
people, a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's a thing. I mean, sometimes you're in the city for a purpose, right? For,
Yeah,
when you have to work in an office or something, and once, things got remote, we had the freedom to work literally from anywhere. So why staying in a big city and paying an expensive rent if you can live somewhere where you can save the money and just work from home or maybe closer to your family.
yeah,
So
and be close to nature as well.
or close to nature, yeah, totally.
I'm sure it's quite hard being in New York right now where, everything is closed and you're stuck in small apartments. I'm sure that's quite hard.
Yeah, cool. Rachel is saying wild times. COVID can't
Wild
stop us.
times.
Yeah.
This is nice. I think this is it feels, let's go to presentation mode. I feel presentation mode is always nice. It helps you kind of see it, the big picture.
What's the shortcut for that?
The shortcut for presentation mode is, let me see.
I thought you just used it. That's why.
I clicked over here to it's Shift W. So Shift W
okay.
will take you to presentation mode.
Cool.
Shift
I
W.
love that.
Or just hold down this little tab over here and you're going to be able to see the options of your normal, preview, bleed, slug, or presentation.
Cool. Yay.
So we have start a life in a new city. Let's move this a bit closer. I think it looks a bit nicer when it's moved up closer. Cool.
Yeah, Bruce is saying, I hear a lot of people are moving out of the cities these days. Yeah, and I live in the city. I mean, I know there are some people who really love the city vibes and, their little corner store. I really, really see that. But for me, I'm more of a nature person. I like to be outside of the city.
Yeah. Agreed. Especially if you can't see your friends and stuff, it's just nice to be able to go outside and feel like you can breathe and,
Yeah, I agree.
All right. How about we do?
Sheree is saying we have same profile picture, Sydney. High five.
How about we do work your way through the best movies of all time? This is actually something that I have been doing over the last 2 years. I've been trying to work my way through the IMDb top movies of all time. Sometimes I resist the really old ones, but I'm trying.
Yeah, there are movies like Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite movies. Not everybody likes it though.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's not for everybody, but I have watched it probably, I don't know, 20 times maybe. And whenever I try to put it back on, my husband always tells me, "Hey, you want to watch it again? You already watched it 20 times, so why do you want to watch it again?" But it just inspires me. I think some of the the artists are just so inspiring, and it just inspires you in a new way every time you watch it. So I think it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, me too.
Work your way through the best movies of all time.
I've watched some pretty great ones this year. One of my favorites was Phantom Thread. I watched Phantom Thread back in the spring, and I fell in love with that movie. We've been watching so many movies. Anything with oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. The guy from The Joker, Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my gosh, yes, I love him. Have you seen Her?
Yes, I love Her. It's so good.
This is one of my favorite actors, and The Joker was just also so amazing. Oh my gosh.
So amazing. I saw it twice in theaters, back when we could go to theaters.
Yeah, I really loved how he uses his body. So that specific scene where he's sitting on a couch and he's crunched like that so you can see all of his bones. I thought that was so crazy. And the way he's expressing himself,
agreed.
This actor is just so amazing.
Or when he gets into the fridge, that scene, it's chilling.
Yeah. Long Boy is asking, Julia, why do you like Pulp Fiction so much? I think Pulp Fiction is just a really, really great movie because it's like showing the culture at from the 80s. And I think that's just, it's just so stylized and so specific. Like
Mhm.
it's not like the general movie that everybody, maybe a lot of people have seen it, but it's just such a vibe. I don't have any other description for that, but it's just that vibe that there is. And those conversations in Pulp Fiction are just hilarious, and they're so
Mhm.
different from anything else you will see.
I agree.
um
Yeah, you're right. It's very stylized. The actors are so good. I love when cinema is just so stylized. Like even like a Wes
yeah,
Anderson movie, it's got a very specific style, and you know it's like a signature style.
yeah,
I feel the signature styles can really are really really helpful
yeah,
in feeling like it brings you into a universe.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Sri is saying Mr. Phoenix's passion and dedication for acting is speechless.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Okay, I think this one is cool. I'm liking where we're going with this. Maybe just to break things up, we could do our table of contents, just so it's something refreshing, and then we'll go back to these spreads a little bit afterward. But I think making the table of contents is really fun because it's going to give us a new type of layout, a new type of design style. Not design style, but just something refreshing.
Hmm. Yeah. Cool. Golden is saying Pulp Fiction is classic. Yay. And Budaval is saying a lot of Tarantino films feel very condensed and secluded in one space. I agree. It's an interesting observation. And Ruthwick is saying it's very non-linear linear in its presentation. I guess that was part of the charm of Pulp Fiction, how it went between different parts back and forth. Yeah, cool.
So, what should we do for our table of contents? I'm thinking we can try two different things. I have two kind of ideas in mind, and let's just experiment and see how they look. Um, I think it's fun to do everything like just condensed in one giant paragraph. It's not functional, and that's okay. Not everything has to be functional. So
Yeah,
let's
and we're here for fun. We're not here for a corporate project, right?
no,
We're here for fun. We're here for exploration,
yeah.
and that's what passion projects are for. And guess what? Passion projects are the ones that get the most attention. And so, speaking from the freelance perspective, I think freelance projects are just the best thing to do. And the experiment, the happiness while creating something and the fun of it usually attracts so many clients. And whenever I get new client requests, they usually pay attention to my passion projects, surprisingly, and not to my client projects.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really, really good way also to kind of enrich your portfolio and to show your personality and to show that you are there for the experiment and for the fun of design.
That's right. I agree. And try something new and innovate, you know?
Yeah. And
Let me know if you guys can hear me. Yeah.
yay.
Okay, so I'm just
Long,
putting everything in the same paragraph.
yeah, long is shouting, yes, one paragraph. Cool.
Okay,
Yes,
so
Ree,
there might
thank
be
you so
some bugs
much.
in here. We'll see.
Thank you so much, Ree. We've been working on it. And it seems to be, let us know if you can hear Angela better. But
Yeah. Yeah, let me know, guys, if my mic is having any issues.
cool. Henry is saying, sorry I'm late. What app are we using? We are currently working in InDesign, but Angela also jumps into Photoshop sometimes. So she
Yeah.
might jump into Photoshop later on today. She wanted to create some mock-ups. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be super fun. I always love to see a design on a mock-up because this is when you actually see, you know,
Yeah.
how it really looks, and you can actually, it becomes really tangible and it actually comes to life. So I really love putting things on mockups.
Me too. Me
Yay.
too. I feel it really brings it to life.
Yeah,
So let's see
Jessica
what this looks like.
is saying I like Parasite. I haven't seen it, but I have seen it in the movie awards, or what kind of awards was it? So it was, it won the some kind of award. Remind me, guys, what kind of award it was, but it was last year, I believe, that it won the award.
Yeah, I think
So
it won Best Movie. I really loved
best movie.
Parasite. I love Parasite.
I haven't had the chance to watch it yet, but I've been wanting to.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's a kind of a roller coaster of a film.
Henry's asking Julia, when do you do the creative challenge? Every day. No, I always challenge myself creatively. No, but I don't know. I don't know. We will see. I don't have any specific dates yet, but I'm hoping the Adobe Live team is working on that. So I'll let you know as soon as I have any dates. By the way, guys, if you want to follow Angela on her Instagram, go onto Angela Freyja. You can find her name in the info. Just type her name and Angela Freyja, and then you will find her on Instagram. And Angela Freyja Design is her handle for her professional work.
Exactly.
So you can follow her on both, and and then you can also check out her amazing past work, which I really, really love on her Angela Freyja design page.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
just really, really amazing.
So
And
just to
also,
catch you guys up,
yeah,
we're just making a table of contents here, and like I said, it's not functional. It's just fun. It's playful. It's going to be kind of weird. So I'm just throwing all of the rules, or not the rules, all of the tips in one big paragraph, and I'm just going to randomly throw photos on top of it and see how it feels. Maybe it's going to work. Maybe it's not going to work. But so far, I kind of like it.
yeah, I think it's cool. And it's
I
actually
like it.
pretty functional for the, you know, for the size of the paragraph and how
Yeah,
condensed it all is. It's actually still pretty well legible and pretty well to understand. I think
exactly.
the thing here is that the numbers seem to be, you know, a little taller.
Yes.
They're as tall as the tallest the text gets. So I think that
Yeah.
helps a lot. The numbers really stick out, and that makes it well to understand.
Yeah, that's true. The numbers do stand out. And I even thought about removing the numbers actually, because I was like, will it make it feel a bit more like a bit more fluid if I remove the numbers? But I kind of like that. It stands out a little bit.
Yeah, totally agree. And we have an artist spotlight coming up in about 40 minutes, guys. And we have some really, really amazing artists today. I took a quick peek into the portfolio and I was blown away. I was literally blown away by his work. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really good inspiration to look at.
Oh, I'm excited to see.
Yay! And Amelia is saying Kill Bill. Yeah, Ugh, Tarantino is just my favorite. I All the movies that are coming out, I'm always so excited to run into the theater. Yeah, except for this year. This
Of
year,
course,
no
yeah,
theaters. Yeah.
that's true. I heard on the news today that Netflix is going to be releasing one movie a week for every week of 2021. That's insane. That's so ambitious. But
Yeah,
I can't say
they
I
have
can't
to
say
catch
bad
up.
about it. Yeah, for sure. But I'm actually really excited because I love to watch movies. So
Yeah, same here. And Netflix is producing actually pretty good series and movies. So far, I think they're doing a great job keeping up with all the, you know, with all the viewers.
it's true. I'm sure there's a lot of viewers right now. So I just want to confirm with you guys that my microphone is okay and you can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine. You're fine. It's fine now.
Perfect.
Cool. So Long Boy has interesting suggestions. What do you
Okay.
all think of making the words negative when there's pictures behind it? So basically create a transparency setting there that it's basically showing the opposite color of the text.
That's a cool idea. How about I can show you what it looks like. I can show you what that looks like. Might be fun to see.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're almost done here. I'm really enjoying like the chaos of this. Feels like fresh to me. Let's just drag this over here. Boop.
Boop.
Then
there we go.
Yeah, I like it. This is really cool. I'm going to show this to you in presentation. I think this feels nice. I want to see this on a mock-up, honestly, because I think on a mock-up it's really going to bring it to life.
Yeah. I agree.
And then I'll just show you what it looks like, because that's something that I do play with every now and then is transparency and exclusion. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you select all your photos that you want to do this with, and then you press Command G. It's going to put them in a group. Then you're going to right click, you're going to go to Effects and Transparency. And then over here, you're going to have your blending modes. So these are really similar to the blending modes that you have in Photoshop. You know, you have multiply, screen, overlay, and then you have things like exclusion, which is going to put the photos, it's going to put the photos almost so that they give you the inverted color when they're over another color. So let's see how that looks. I'm not sure if it's going to work here because it's black and white. Let's just check it out. Exclusion, click preview so we can see it. Ooh. So that's kind of what it looks like. And this is a really fun tool to play with over here. Difference as well is fun.
I'm usually using multiply. I think that's super fun to use. But yeah, multiply maybe not in this case. But
yeah, I use multiply a lot too. And then screen is kind of like gonna, if you have a dark background, screen works really well. Obviously this is a light background, so it's not great. But this is a really fun tool to use if you're looking for different interesting ways to play with photography. I'm gonna keep it on normal. You also have your drop shadow over here, which I'm not gonna use, but that makes it very 80s.
Drop shadow is a tool you can use, and it's a very highly discussed tool or highly discussed effect, right?
Yeah. It is. Drop shadow gets a lot of flack. But it can
every time I have a branding client and they ask me to put a drop shadow behind their logo, I'm like, yeah, I don't have that tool. I'm sorry.
It's true.
My software does not use that tool.
Exactly. So I think we can do two options for the table of contents, because I do want to try some different things and see what looks good. I always want to do some options, and sometimes it's like the fourth or fifth one that you're like, oh yeah, this is the one I want to go with. So let's try here.
Good point. Vuduval is saying, I actually love subtle drop shadows. Yeah, that can be something cool to use when you, not when you stylize something, but when you want to recreate some effect that to make things look more natural. So let's say, you know, you can also create a mock-up inside Illustrator for your design or for a card. For, let's say you're creating a mock-up for a business card, you can just put, you know, create a white rectangle and make a very, very subtle drop shadow underneath, place a background, and it will already almost look like an actual business card. So I love doing that when you want to make things look as if they're realistic. But when you want to stylize something, I don't think drop shadows are a good thing to do. But yeah, again, it's your creative freedom. And if you are passionate about drop shadows, and if you think that, you know, they give your design a certain vibe or a certain, you know, powerfulness, why not?
Yeah, for sure. And maybe you're doing like a retro 80s throwback, and that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just experimenting here with the fonts. Let's see, maybe we can
And
make
John
these
is
columns
here. John
bigger.
is here from Netherlands. Good evening from Netherlands. Nice to see
Hi,
you
John.
here.
Thanks for joining.
Cool. Yay.
So this is the experimentation phase.
Yep. And I think experimenting is just so important.
Yeah, I agree.
Even sometimes when I'm working on a client project, I'll just take the current design that I've been working on, I'll take it by side. I'm like, hey, you come with me. I wanna talk to you. And then I'll be doing some crazy stuff with it, but only for myself, obviously. I'm probably not gonna, present it to the client. But in some cases,
yeah, why not?
In some cases, the work can even be better after, doing some little experimenting here and there.
Yep, I agree. I'm kind of enjoying this. I think this is cool. I'm just going to try and make it so that the two are equal here, or a bit more equal at least, I think.
I love the rounded shapes at the bottom. It almost looks like a vase or some kind of, something that kind of ends at the bottom with a rounded shape. I really love that.
So let's just center this. And this is a really good tool to have as well. So if you're wanting to align your text so that it's perfectly centered, which is something that I do a lot, up here, these are your align tools. So it's going to align it to the right, to the bottom, to whatever corner you want it to be aligned to. And then you can choose where you want it to align to. So do you want to align it to the margin, to the page, or to the spread? So I want to align it to the page. So I click that and I just center it, and it centers it right in the middle of the page for me, which is what I need. So that's perfect. And then if you want to make sure that both of your paragraphs start at the same spot, which mine do right now, I believe, but this is a great tool for that as well. So it's going to align them perfectly. And there we go.
Cool.
So let's try and throw some photos over these and see which one we prefer.
Let's do it. Devon is saying, love the layout and style of these. Yay.
Thank you.
I love it too. And Gus is joining us. Hi, Gus. Good to see you. Hopefully we get to see you in 21 and at some point in real life. That would be amazing. And Chris is here from France. Really nice. And yes, guys, we are having a stellar day today. The internet is working perfectly. We're doing just fine. Right, Angela?
Really good, yeah.
Cool. And Kevin is here from Guatemala. I love your work, Angela.
Thank you, Kevin.
Really nice. Yes, guys, we're doing fine today. We had a huge outage yesterday in South Florida, so that's the reason why I disappeared a little bit by the end of the stream. But we kind of managed to come back with mobile devices. But yeah, you never know. The internet of the world.
Which one
right?
are you guys liking better?
Hooray for the internet. I think in my case, I like the bottom one a lot, just because I love the how the two pages, how the text has the similar shape at the bottom. I think it just looks like a bigger brother and a smaller brother, and they just look so cohesive with each other. But I mean, it's up to you. And let us know in the chat, guys. Do you like the first or the second spread better?
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see that one.
Liz is asking, could you please repeat the website name you got that font from? Absolutely loving the design.
Of course, the website is Pangram, which I have right here.
Yay! And they have some really cool typefaces.
Yeah, like this font, Mira, is just so beautiful. I love this pixel font, the bitmap font. They make really, really nice fonts. And they have a great Swiss sans serif called New Montreal, which I use a lot. So definitely recommend checking out their typefaces.
I also love their color background.
Me too.
That really, really subtle, like very, very light ocean blue.
Yeah.
So cool. Love that.
I love that. So I'm really liking both of these. I think what we could do to just test it out is let's try it on a mock-up quickly, and then we'll come back to our book. But I really want to see these on a mock-up, so I figured let's just try it and take a look.
Yes,
So
I'm excited.
in Photoshop, I'm going to do things a little bit differently because sometimes I'll use mockups and sometimes I'll just make my own mockups because it gives me a bit more control over the creative process. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Let's make it at 3000 pixels wide by 2000 pixels height, 150 DPI. Because it's for the web, it's not going to be for print. So 150 DPI is okay. And then up here in my layers, I'm going to select just slightly off black, not black, black, just slightly off black. I'm going to use my fill tool to give myself a black background.
By the way, the chat is feeling the first one.
The
majority is saying the first one. They all want to see the first one. So let's maybe do the first one.
We can do both. Let's see. So I'm going to export these two spreads. We've got 2, 3, and 4 to 5. Pages 2, 3, and pages 4, 5. So let's just export as JPEGs. And then we're going to do a range from 2 to 5. And then we're going to click on spreads. That's going to give us spreads. So let's go over to Photoshop. Let's go back. Our spreads are now exported as JPEGs. And let's just drag these into Photoshop. Cool. So I'm going to resize both of these actually so they fit the frame a bit better.
You're clicking Command and T, right, to resize?
I am, yep. I'm clicking Command and T. And then I know that with a new Photoshop, the way you proportionally resize is different. I have mine set so that I don't, you used to have the whole shift to resize proportionally. And now you don't.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Not anymore. Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. It's you have to get used to it, but once you get used to it, it can save you the time of holding shift. And
exactly.
I think it's great. Why not?
Totally agree. I really like it now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a fake piece of paper just to give this texture. So, you can do this in a myriad of ways, honestly. I'm going to do it really easily by using my wand tool, invert that selection, make a new layer, and fill that with,
You inverted with Command and I, right?
I did, yep, with Command and white. So when these two layers are off, now I have just this white square that's the same size as my spread, which is perfect. That's what I need. And then I have a paper texture that I actually downloaded from Adobe Stock this morning. So I'm going to drag that in to my Photoshop. And this is going to give it that paper feeling so that it feels like it's actually printed. So let's resize this.
I think texture is so important in mockups. It's texture and light. Both of these things are just so important to make it look realistic.
Definitely. Then we're going to clip mask it. And then let's experiment. So we've got this one here. So what we're going to do is multiply it, or we're going to color burn it. I think multiply is better, yeah. And honestly, it's looking cool. I like it.
Yeah, I love it. It looks so nice.
And then something that we could do just to make it feel more realistic, I often will add a grain to the background. So I'll go to noise, add noise, and I'll do 2 or 3. Actually, I like it on 5. Let's do 4. And then we can add a curve layer. So a curve layer is going to make it feel like there's a light source over the image. And that's going to make sure that it's the same it's the same light that's on the actual spread as the background. So let's just
everybody take notes. This is such an insider information here.
Yeah, it's real helpful.
I'm definitely going to rewatch it.
And then I might do like hue saturation, like -8. I like hue saturation. Sometimes I go crazy. Let's do a level as well. I like to add a level. Yeah, that looks cool. And then maybe I'll actually take this layer here and then I'll add a noise to that as well. So the photos feel like they have a noise applied to them. And that's it.
Yay. Ever Studio is asking, when page spreads don't get printed on the same sheet, it's not in the middle of the booklet. How do you stitch these and export with corresponding sheet with a corresponding sheet.
Could you repeat that for me?
So now you're showing a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
So what if they're not printed on the same page? What if they're separated? How do you export that, and how do you make sure that it's still legible?
That's a really good question. InDesign is really great with books. So your printer should help you with this. Whenever I've printed books, I've been lucky enough to have really great printers who are going to make sure everything is organized the way it needs to be, because it's really confusing. It can be really confusing to do this. Last time I did it, InDesign has an export book setting that I would encourage you to check out. I don't know exactly where it is right now, but there is a really nice setting for a book, and it walks you through everything. And when you export, you can design it like this, but it's going to export it in the order of the pages as they should be printed, which is really, really helpful and takes the labor off of you. InDesign will organize it for you. I'm not sure where that option is right now because I haven't done it in a year or two.
I remember doing that as well. I think it's somewhere in
print booklet. Here it is.
Print booklet. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And so right at this time, so let's say you the last time you ordered a book, would you send the printer the InDesign file and package it, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I'll send the printer an InDesign package, or I'll work with a technical designer. I've been lucky enough to have some like extremely talented technical designers who have done this stuff for me. But normally I would do an InDesign package, I would do a PDF, and then I would send that to the printer and they would take care of it for me. But I have had to do it in the past. And then I've just used this setting here for print booklet. And then you can choose, talk to your printer, say, how are we printing this? Is it a saddle stitch? Is it perfectly bound? Perfectly bound is when you're going to have the actual like hard surface on the side. 2F consecutive. I'm not sure exactly what these mean, but they are good terms to know when you're doing a book. And then you can print, and then it's going to provide you with the number of pages. So it's kind of confusing, as you can see here, right? Because the way it's printing is not the way you have your spreads, but it's the way the book is going to print.
Yeah.
Very technical.
Yep. It can be really tricky, but
it can be tricky.
I think that's a really great tip. And I think if you really want to do it super professionally, you should dive a little bit more into that and learn a little bit more, how to set those things up. But I think the setting that there is already pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And let's try the other one as well. Let's see what that looks like. So multiply, and let's add some noise to it as well. Add noise 4. And then I think I want to turn this curve layer off. Or let's put it at opacity. And then a nice way to like fake a book in Illustrator, I'll sort of use my rulers, and I'll use my so that it sticks. Normally your ruler will pause in the middle, so it's sort of like a guide. The guide's going to, I forget the term for it, but it's going to lock you in the middle.
Snap
grids. Exactly, the snap grid, which is really convenient and helpful. I'm going to use my line tool, and then I'm going to draw a line right down the middle in black. So let's make sure it's in black. And then I'm going to rasterize my layer. So rasterize just means that it's a flat object. It's no longer a vector shape. And then I'm going to go to blur, Gaussian blur. I'm going to blur that out. I think this is good. And then I'm going to repeat the process, but I'm going to do it at like a smaller weight. Because it creates like a shadow.
So you're creating a bigger shadow, and then you're creating a smaller shadow and a smaller shadow and a smaller shadow.
Exactly.
And you're overlaying them, and that will look like as if, the pages are going into the depth, right?
That's right. So I'll blur that, and then I'll put this on like really low opacity.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Everybody does it differently, I feel like.
Everyone does it differently, and there's a million ways to do it correctly. It's really just like what feels good to you. I really do enjoy this. And then if you wanted to, you could also add shadows to the left and the right side. It's going to make it feel a bit more realistic.
And some highlights maybe also where the pages are turning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I kind of like it matte like this. I think I do like the spread, but I do prefer this one. I think there's something interesting about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's our table of contents. That's a fun one. I like this one.
Yeah. That's super cool. And we have a couple of questions. So let's go through them. We have Shri here. I have a question for both of you. I'm an architecture student but wanting to make a career in graphic design. I have heard about both of you yesterday. Angela didn't study in a design school and Julia studied industrial design. What could be some ways to self-learn brand identity projects? If it's typography practice, I can do a poster every day or an editorial layout every day. But for branding, I think it's important to understand the objectives of a company. How did you do it, or how did you practice it?
It's a
Angela,
really good question.
I'll give you the first answer.
I think just trying it, you know, trials and failures. Not when I first started, I was doing branding for every opportunity I could get. I would do it, even if I didn't get paid for it. I mean, one time, my partner and I made a website for a church for like $100. Like we got to do the branding and website for a church. We were like, yeah, let's do it. We did everything. Like it was such a hustle, and it took many, many years of practice to actually get good at it. But just practice, 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 practice. That's all I can say. And don't turn down anything. Do it, do your best. Even if the clients aren't great, like I know a lot of the big designers will say, like, don't work with bad clients. But when you're first getting started, sometimes you don't really have a choice. And you just do it and you make it work and you learn from it. And then eventually you're going to get really great clients who are going to give you freedom, and you're going to have the skills in your back pocket from those bad clients to know how to behave or how to provide them with what they need, and also how to make great design. So I think just practice, YouTube tutorials, Adobe Live.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And for me, the way I started out, basically, I started out with creating branding for my family businesses, for friends' businesses, and then friends of friends. So that's how it started. And they're, working on my family business, they cannot really say anything bad to you. I mean, you're not
It's
paying
true.
me, so what do you expect, right?
It's true. It's true.
And so this is where you can start practicing. But one thing that really, really helped me with brand identity and creating a brand identity is working for an agency for a little bit, just to see how they are doing the process and how they're interacting with the client and what the client expects from them, what they deliver on each presentation. And each
Yeah.
agency does it differently, but there is a certain kind of guideline that you can use to kind of create this process with the client, and also to know what's the next step, right? Because you do want to appear like what's the next step. You want to appear as if you know what's going on and that everything is under control, right? So you don't want to come to the client with a couple random logo designs without any presentation, just on one sheet, and be like, hey, pick one. That's
Yeah.
not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to take some research, take some of their strategy, take some of their previous experience, and work with that, and work very strategically on the visuals and making specific decisions. So I would say it's one tip is just for a very short period of time work with an agency, look at very closely at their processes. It makes sense to work with a small agency. I did that in San Francisco, and that was really, really helpful to understand how that kind of stuff works.
Yeah.
And once you get the hang of it, you can do it yourself. And yeah. So
I couldn't agree more with you. Like working at an agency is a game changer, and it will teach you so much. Like you're going to see how they present to clients. You're going to see how they do their mood boards. You're going to see how they do their strategy. And you'll be lucky enough, if you have a great agency, you're going to have a producer, you're going to have a project manager, maybe you're going to have a client manager, you're going to have a copywriter. So you get to see all the different roles and how the team is made up. And it's a really, really cool experience. And the most growth I've ever had was at agencies, and having a really good creative director is like, it's one of the best things that could happen, is having a good CD.
yeah, I agree. So hopefully this answered the question. I think
Yeah.
it's really important to learn how to communicate with a client and how to translate, specific design decisions into visuals, and how to justify your
Yeah.
decisions. So I think that's one of the most important things. And Alejandro has a question. Angela, can you share any consideration to export the final book to a PDF, please? I think
Yeah,
that's a
of
good one.
course. So I'll just show you how to export it as like a regular PDF, not necessarily as the booklet for print. But I'll show you this. And there's a few different ways that you can do it. I'll show you something. Actually, speaking of really, really good creative directors, I was lucky enough to have a creative director, Charlene, at my old agency, Tux, and she taught me so much about technical details, branding presentations, even exporting files. Like having a good creative director, guys, is a game changer. So when you're, I thought of her because she taught me export tricks over the years. So when you're exporting a book, you're just going to go Command E or File, Export. And then you're going to go to PDF Print because it's a print book. And then you're going to save it. And then over here, you're going to have different options. So this is a really cool trick that Charlene taught me, actually. If you're just exporting for like an email attachment, so you don't want it to be super high res because it's not going to be able to be uploaded to an email, I'll always do smallest file size and then compression maximum. So it's going to keep the size of the file small, under 15 megabytes, but it's also going to export it with a really nice image quality. So this is going to give you a great presentation that you can email to a client without degrading your image quality, but still keeping it small, right? Which is really awesome. But when you're printing for a book, you want to go to high quality prints, or maybe you can ask your printer. Sometimes they're going to want PDF, X-1. It depends on what they want, but I normally use high quality prints. And then we go to marks and bleeds. It really depends what your printer is requesting, but normally I will do bleed marks and I will use document bleed settings. We don't have a slug here, but you could include a slug. A slug is basically if you had technical information that the printer needed to know, you could include over here in your gray space print information. So dimensions, color profile, if it has to be embossed or not. You can keep all of that over here in the gray area, which is your slug, but we don't have that here, so we're not going to include it. You can include color bars if you want to. It's really up to you. And then we export it. So I'll just give you an example. We'll do a range of page 2 to 24, why not? And then we'll export it. Oh, there's a problem. Okay, let's see if that worked. So it did export it. Oh, I forgot to do something. So when you're working with a book, you're working with spreads. That's one good thing to remember. So with a spread, you can export as pages or as spreads. So spreads is going to give you the 2 pages next to each other. And then we're going to export that. There's a background problem, but it's just a color issue, so that's okay. And then we pop it open, and then we're going to have all of our spreads here. And then you'll see up here, because we export it with bleed, up here we're going to have the crop marks. So your printer is going to take this, and they're going to be able to actually, because your printer is going to have like big cutting machines, so they're just going to cut this right off. So you have a clean line.
That is so satisfying. I love that feeling when you're having multiple sheets and it just goes like, and finally they're all, set up and perfectly aligned. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Me too. It's my favorite. I always love seeing something in print, but there's a lot of pressure when you're printing stuff because you're like, is the color profile right? Is it the resolution of the images right?
I know. A lot of pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. And then deciding for the paper also makes a big difference because some of the papers soak in the color a little bit more, and some of them, are really come out really glossy. So it's the paper also makes a big difference. And also, I just saw there were some color bars on your exported PDF. Just want to quickly mention that it's for the printer to test if their colors are printed correctly by the printer, right? So that's what it's basically for. And is there any other reason for that?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Yeah. So it's basically just to check if their color values are on point, and if the printer is, has enough sufficient ink and so on. So that's basically what they're for, but they're being cut off by the crop marks.
Exactly.
Cool. Another question by Jessica.
Sure.
Asking really interesting question. Did either of you get to attend 2020 Adobe Max? It was online. So what sessions did you watch?
Okay, I saw the lineup for Adobe Max and it was insane. There's like so many celebrities at Adobe Max this year. I never attended it though. I should have. I just didn't think about it. I was busy. I guess I forgot about it. But I did see the lineup and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of really big people coming to this or attending this.
Yeah, I agree. There were a lot of really, really cool artists. And actually, I had the chance to present some of the stuff on this during the sessions. So we had an Adobe Live segment for Illustrator on the iPad. That was really awesome. Me and Andrew Hockradel were actually, showing some of the things, just showing Illustrator for the first time to the audience was so exciting. So if you guys get the chance, or if you're interested, rewatch that session. It was super awesome. And then I also got the chance to present Adobe Spark, how to create a brand in Adobe Spark. So that one is also
nice.
really cool. Creating some social media presets and just the whole branding inside Adobe Spark. So that was also really cool. I have watched a couple of sessions. I loved Tyler the Creator. It's one of my favorite artists for music. And a lot of other sessions. I saw the Photoshop, things that are coming. And of course, the sneak session is always really awesome to watch. So basically, the sneak session is there where you can see the things that Adobe is currently working on. So basically the future projects that are going to be released sometime in the future. So those I love as well, because I'm really interested about how, the technology will evolve. And this is actually where you get, a sneak peek of what's going to come in the next years. So I've really been loving that. And some of the sessions are still available on YouTube, so you guys can rewatch those. Cool.
Yeah, Adobe Max looked really great this year. I was really impressed by it.
And compliments to the team who kind of set it up online. I can imagine it was so crazy to put all of those live streams together and then run them on that site. So I was just amazed how well it worked out.
That's really cool.
So
I think we have a fair number of spreads here. I'm liking them. I think what we could do is export some and let's just play with some mock-ups and some previews, because that's when it really comes to life. And I think seeing it in InDesign is great, but then when you see it in Photoshop and everything together, that's when it gets really exciting. So, oh, and by the way, the tab key is really nice because it's going to remove all of your panels if you just want to see it without the panels, which is nice.
Yeah, that's great. And also Ruthwick is asking, how did Angela make the text box snap to the bounding region? I think that's a good one.
Yeah,
you've been doing that a lot.
I do that a lot. Yeah, you just double click and it cleans it right up for you.
You just what? You just click what?
You just double click the bottom.
Double click.
Yep, double click it, and it's going to make it snap up to the bottom of the text. It's a great tool. I use it all the time.
So easy.
So easy.
In case you have sometimes you paste some text into the box and it will show you a little red symbol. So that means that the text is too large for this box, and then you can click on that symbol and you can create another box, and the other part of the text that didn't fit in the first box will be added to the second box. So that's something that I use a lot as well, especially when creating layouts with a lot of text.
Okay, so let's play in Photoshop. I love to play in Photoshop. It's one of my favorite things. Let's put this in a group because this is going to be one of our spreads for the book. And let's just turn that layer off for now. I like to play in one Photoshop file. Everyone does it differently. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how it looks. So maybe what I'll do is I'll duplicate this page just so that we have the same structure. We have our white layer with our photo texture. Let's just flatten that so it's one layer, and let's remove these. So I think let's start importing some of our exports. Let's see, let's start with this one here. So we're just going to drag it to the same size as our page. And we're going to clip mask it. And then let's multiply it. Linear burn, maybe? No, I think multiply. And let's make sure it's like snaps perfectly too. So there's no white edges.
I love these colors. It's just
colors
so
are nice.
Comforting to my eye. And I love that this green is such a nature green, right? It's not a green that it's biting. It's a green that's supernatural and supernatural. It's actually natural, not supernatural. Abdullah has a question. When we are sending it for print, it requires a single page PDF with all side bleed and all pages. When it's exported, it creates overlaps inside bleeds on the left page and on the right page inside the bleed. Okay, I'm not sure if I understand that, but what I got is that maybe you're exporting for not as pages but as spreads. If you're having a book that uses pages and not spreads, because there are different binding techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of them just use pages, so you need to export just front and back, front and back, front and back. So I think in that case, you will have a bleed on both the sides. You will still have a bleed into the book, where the pages get binded together. So it's important to make sure what kind of binding you have before you export the file, right? So I think that's the reason why Angela was mentioning that it's great to be able to send the InDesign file to the printer, because they'll find a different way to bind the book.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the printers actually prefer to have that control over it because they're able to, they know their equipment better than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Cool. All right.
So all I'm doing now, I'm just importing everything, guys. I'm going to import it, and then we're going to do like a nice reveal of everything together,
cool.
Which I think is going to be really nice and satisfying. I always find this part very satisfying. And maybe we should do like our favorite ones. Maybe I'll do 9 in total. So let's see. I think this one is really cool.
And we have Anastasia Kopacheva here from Russia. Welcome.
Oh, wow. Welcome.
Good to see you. Awesome. Ruthwick is asking, could you explain the difference in when to use area type versus the other one?
Yeah, so, well, editorial type is the header font for the whole document. So you'll see this is editorial, this is editorial, this is editorial, and this is editorial. I wanted to challenge myself to use only one font and maybe 2 or 3 weights of that font to create a whole book. And I think this is a really nice practice because by limiting yourself to only one font, it's going to keep a cohesion through your design, which is nice. So it's all editorial, and I just kind of used it at randomly whenever I felt like I wanted to use a different weight.
Oh, and Ever Studio is asking, have you used Kindle Previewer before?
No, I don't even know what that is, actually. I'd like to know what that is.
Yeah, well, I have never used that neither, but maybe it's like a setting inside Photoshop or inside InDesign where you can preview things for a certain device, I'm assuming. So, but I have never done that.
No. Is it for like Kindle books?
I assume that, yeah. It gives you a prototype of a flip-through booklet. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's cool. There's also a really nice site to do that. It's called issue.com with double S and W. And in issue.com, you can upload, a PDF file like this one with spreads. for free, and then you can preview the design. It also actually feels like an actual magazine or an actual book where you have to grab a page and then put it to the other side, kind of flip through the pages. So I think that's also a great way to preview and have it pretty realistic for a presentation as well.
Yeah. So just dragging
Abdullah,
these in.
yeah, Abdullah is saying it was getting hard binding a book. Yeah,
Yeah.
binding is a science on its own.
It is. It's a real. It's craftsmanship. It's not easy. And then when you incorporate things like embossing, or different printing techniques, if you're offset printing, if you're going to be doing any kind of interesting printing technique, you're going to need really technical details done for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm loving this one so much. This one's
I like
so
this one
cool.
too. Yeah. This one's fun. And then we're going to multiply it. So let's see how many we have here now. Do you guys name your layers? I've gotten in trouble over the years for not naming my layers.
I only name them if I retouch images.
Right.
So I can go back and I can see what I actually did there and what kind of vegetable it was. So I was actually for a long time I've been retouching photos for Panda Express.
Okay.
And
nice.
And once you sit on the photo for hours, adding color to the vegetables and to the meat and color matching it all, you learn how to make layers, because once they come back with edits,
that's
hey,
so
you know
true.
what? Can we make this a little bit more green, or can we add this somewhere else as well?
Yeah, that's true. And when you're like designing with a team and you've got different designers, then it's really important to name your layers as well so that everyone knows where everything is. But it's not, I've gotten in trouble for not naming my layers. It's a really good practice to get into. It's really helpful when you're on a team.
Yeah, totally. All right, friends, it's time for the artist spotlight. Really, really excited to see. Today we have Santiago Barrera. Santiago Barrera is a designer based off Toronto in Canada, and he's really, really amazing. As you can see, just look at these designs. You can already see this person is super, super talented. Let's take a quick look at the About Me section. Santiago is a student passionate about design and art, currently in his third year of graphic design at George Brown College. In my opinion, the most exciting and essential part is always to learn new skills that can be multitudinously executed in designs. The use of color and contrast are my favorite subjects. The use of color and contrast are my favorite subjects. Santiago is originally from Colombia and speaks 3 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, and English, and in the process of learning French. I lived in more than 4 countries: Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, and Canada, a culture, design, and art, and knowledge lover. Super cool. So let's take a look at some of the work by Santiago. Anjela, you as a guest, you can pick the first project we're going to take a look at.
Well, let's look at the first one. Let's look at the very first one. I always feel like our most recent project is our most exciting one.
Yes, I totally agree. So this looks like a brand refresh for the World Wide Web Consortium. And let's go down here, and I see there's some animation going. I think that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have the core values here. Again, super nice presentation here.
Yeah, it's good. It shows that you're thinking of strategy, which is nice.
Yeah, I love that. And then we have a little bit an about section here about the organization and the project. And then we have the logo comparison. I always love to see a comparison of before and after. I think that's so awesome.
It looks way better after too. I think you did a really good job.
Of course it does. Yeah. Really nice. I love the way the logo can be applied, in black here and white on top of on top of different types of design. Very nice. So this almost looks like a brand guideline to me already.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Love that. applications of the logo. Really nice. I love this blue tone. I think it's so warm. I mean, you know how even cold colors can feel warm
Yeah, I do.
and inviting. So
I do.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like a sky blue.
Yeah.
I love this color palette. It's really nice. I love this turquoise with the purple.
Yeah. It's really nice. And then we have the logo applied to the different themes. So one is for the developers, one is for designers, and one is for accessibility. I really love how he has created this, color connection to the different topics.
And I like that you have some flexibility in your logo too. That doesn't actually change the structure of the logo, but just the color. That's a nice detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that.
I like that you include your CSS.
Really nice. Yeah, I think the color palette is just so amazing. Now let's see how the branding is being applied here. Cool. Really nice. A little poster.
I like this mock-up. It's a nice mock-up.
Yeah, it looks so real, right? With the person kind of blurred out in the foreground.
Yeah, it's cool.
Love it.
Tim Berners-Lee, founder. Nice.
Love it. I think this is really, really, really great work. And in case some of you want some inspiration on how to build your case studies, I think this is a great example.
It is, yeah. Just showing all the different ways that you can brand something. Like, what's your tote bag? What's your bottle of water? What's, what are your billboards?
Yeah, and it's definitely a good practice when you want to present the design or the branding to a client. Why not put it on some mock-ups? Why not design some extra goodies to show how the branding actually works on different media?
Yeah, exactly. And this is great if you want to get hired at an agency or something too, because an agency is going to want to see that you know how to apply your visual language in multiple places. It's a really, really good skill to have.
Awesome. Yeah, this is a really great project. I wanted to see this one where it says,
let's do it.
Ooh, feel your own greatness. I love this typeface. First of all, I think this is great. I think the color palette here is amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Also the imagery.
I like that you're applying text over photo in dynamic ways. That's nice. And I like that this branding system is cool because you've got color and photograph and you're using them. It shows like a good eye for art direction, that you're integrating multiple things into your language.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. This is great. This is very unique. I have not seen anything like that before, where you have the product and then not a picture or a photo of a person, but a shadow of a person. I think that's pretty unique.
Yeah, it's a nice way to add some like a human touch.
Very nice. Here we even have some
video
animation going. Little video elements. And it's also a great mock-up. I mean, it has so much texture over here.
Yeah, it is a good mock-up.
You can see this. This is great. Awesome. Very nice, Santiago. You have some really great work. I'm loving all of this so far. So guys, check out in the artist spotlight, you will find above the chat, you will find Santiago's link to his portfolio. And let's take a look. This looks like some personal branding. A new day is a new day to create. That's awesome. I love how the image is edited here and stylized with this orange. Cool.
Yeah, I like your font here. Clean, minimal. It's nice on your business card.
Yeah, love it too. It's amazing. I think it's also cool to, in case some of you work on personal branding, to put a personal branding project into the portfolio, because I mean, I think it's one of the more challenging things to create a branding for yourself, right?
It's so hard. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I have a personal brand. I can't commit to a logo.
Right.
But it is really good practice, especially when you're first starting. Like, if you want to create a brand, then do one for yourself. It's great.
Yeah. And here we have a little video showing the interaction on Santiago's website, looks like. So I think this is really great too.
Yeah. I love that you can explore it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice feature. Very nice. And this is like an interactive feature, or it's a video. Okay, nice. That's awesome.
It's a video. I think you can make something like this inside XD where you record the experience, and then you can place it into a video format like this one. This is so cool. I really love how he did not just place the video of the interaction, but he actually placed it inside a screen, so you have kind of the idea what it's all about, right? It's something that's located inside the screen. It's not YouTube video or something like that. Cool. Yay, love it. So far I've been loving all of the projects. Anjela, what's the next one and the last one we're going to take a look at?
Let's do the fourth one.
For NASA
annual report. This looks great. This looks really great. I love these colors. I like how your front and your back are utilizing interesting color overlays, and then black and white on the inside. That's a great use of color.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And we have a little color element here as well on the side.
That's nice.
Also, honestly, I want to compliment you on your structure of your projects. I really love that you always add this description. I think it's super easy to understand. You get some background information. I think that's so important, and it's definitely a practice all of us should do to kind of give a little bit of background.
It's true. Some context for the project. This looks nice. I like your type here. It's really clean.
Mm-hmm. I also love the application of the shadow over the book.
Yeah, me too.
It kind of looks like it's almost night, or it's like a dawn situation, and there's still some little amount of light coming through the window, and it's kind of gives it this kind of like a mystic feel. I really love that. And notice how the lighting is very similar in all the mock-ups.
Yeah, which is nice. It gives a cohesion to your portfolio that I really like. This is nice too. Similar color treatment throughout the book. That's great.
Yeah, I agree. We have some purple here as well coming in. That's great. Looks like the purple is kind of like to highlight things.
Yeah. This is a really nice piece of editorial design.
Yeah, love it.
Really nice work, Santiago. Thank you for submitting your portfolio.
Yeah, so cool. This is awesome. Very, very inspiring. Thank you so much. Whoever nominated Santiago, or if you have nominated yourself, that's also fine. And if you have a friend or somebody who you think is super talented and you want to highlight them in our artist spotlight, make sure to submit them above the chat into the artist spotlight. You can also submit yourself. That's also possible, and maybe you will be your portfolio will be shown on one of the future Adobe live streams. So it's also a good opportunity to kind of maybe gain new clients, or just share your work and just put it out there into the world. I always say that you can be a great designer, but if nobody knows that you exist, you won't be able to actually produce more work, because you won't be able to sustain yourself. You need to be able to do the work, right, for clients, so that you can get paid for it. So I always think that an online presence is very, very important.
Agreed completely. Put yourself out there. Tumblr, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all of it. Behance.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes it can haunt you. I have some work on the internet that I did like 10 years ago that still is floating around there. But you know what? It's good. It's better than not putting it out there, you know? Oh, actually, I just got a text from my mom to remind me to change these photos. So shout out to my mom. Thank you for that reminder. Let me see where this one is. Okay, so let's just change the spread here, and then I'll show you guys the final sort of reveal in Photoshop.
Yay. So how's everybody doing? What's going on this week? Let us know in the chat what you guys are working on currently. And also it's time for some last questions for us. And especially Anjela, she's a 10-year expert. I'm only halfway through that.
Oh, it's a group. That's why it's a group. Okay, let me see. Oh, maybe it's not.
Okay, that's a great question by Henry. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh, that's a really good question. Honestly, I get my inspiration from so many places, but mostly I get my inspiration from the culture, what's happening in the world. Obviously, I get inspiration from, you know, design resources, going through things like Pinterest or Arena, or even Instagram has got some great design accounts. But generally, I get my inspiration from what's happening in the world, and I always try to weave in what's happening in our culture and in politics and in society into my work. I think that makes it feel a bit more dynamic, and yeah, so I think I would say our culture is what inspires me. What about you?
That's so cool. Where do I get my inspiration? I think my inspiration comes from experimenting, and sometimes I have this thing where I've been looking at a lot of, you know, graphics, and I've been in front of the computer for the whole day, and when I close my eyes in the evening, I see some interesting things.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
It does definitely. Or like when you have a creative block and the only thing that you can do is just turn your computer off and take a break, and then it's going to come to you.
That definitely works. Going for a walk, doing, you know, some exercise always helps, and just staying away from work for a longer period of time. I think during the Christmas time, I stayed away from the computer for about 2 weeks. Yeah. And it was so great. It was the greatest thing ever, because when I jumped on it again, my recent project that I'm working on for my client is the best one so far, and I'm just super proud about, you know, being able to create something cool. Something completely innovative for myself, and something completely different than what I would have created maybe 2 months ago. So,
and I think that's a good segue to a great topic, which is, you know, creative burnout. And speaking for myself this year, this has been a really hard year to be creative, because we're stuck at home. We don't have our social outlets. And I've definitely been really struggling with being creative, and not even being creative, but having the motivation to do the work. You know, it can be really hard to feel inspired by client projects and stuff when there's so much difficult things happening in the world around us. So if anyone out there is feeling a creative block, I hope you know that you're not alone, and that so many of us are feeling this right now. It's not easy.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like these days, since you are not able to make the connection in the outside world, you kind of make the connections in your family, and also friendships are kind of getting really stronger bonds. And online presence has been so great. I feel like there has been so many more things like YouTube videos, and a lot of new channels that people open for publishing their work or presenting or just communicating with people,
Yeah.
because they have the urge to have this exchange and they're totally missing it.
Yeah.
So I feel like there has been a lot happening on the internet as well.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to make this spread a little bit bigger because I think that just need a bit more space.
Just to make sure, the inspiration site that you were talking about, Arena, it's are.na, or how do you?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's lots of great stuff in here. You can follow boards. You can even pin like documents or like full websites to your boards, which is nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I think it's a great new platform, because I really didn't know about it before. And
yeah,
it's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because sometimes on Pinterest, if you look for something, you probably see familiar visuals that you have already seen at some point. So it's great to have some new information.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the stuff in there, oh guys, my scratch discs are full. Hold on, I'm going to close out my InDesign so we can get back into Photoshop.
Yeah, that happens to me as well sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially working on really, really complex projects.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll just resize this document as well. That might help.
Branding projects can get really, really wild sometimes.
They can. Yeah, exactly. And I think right now I've got two different versions of Photoshop and InDesign installed on my computer, because I have the new updates as well. If anyone's ever
maybe that's why.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of storage going on, but let's just force quit this stuff.
Let's do
I don't think anything needs to be. And then I'm going to close my Chrome, because Chrome always uses up way too much information. There we go.
Yeah, I'm using this program called the Mac Cleaner. That one's pretty good.
Oh, okay. It makes your computer less.
It maximizes your storage, so it deletes files that were from your emails or something, files that it has downloaded automatically.
Okay.
Or anything that you don't use anymore, or things that are, you can also decide if you want to remove things that have a lot of copies, or things that you haven't seen or looked at in 5 years. So there's a lot of things you can do.
Oh, maybe I should get that then. I think I just need to get more space on my laptop, honestly, because this laptop is pretty old. I'm just deleting the layers because it's going to free up some space for me.
Cool.
And what I'm doing here is I'm holding Command Option E, which basically just merges all of those layers into one layer, and that way I don't have to deal with what's inside them. And I'm only doing this because my computer is a bit heavy right now, and I want to be able to show you. Normally I wouldn't do that, but it's fun.
Cool.
Here we go. So now we can really move things around.
Nice. I love it. That is great. So guys, we have only 2 minutes left. So if you have any last questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we're going to sum up and yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I really am enjoying this book. I think it's really nice. I would love to print this. This is everything.
Jessica is asking, Angela said that she didn't study design at school. How did she gain experience? Did she volunteer her services, work freelance, or do an internship?
Everything, all of the above. I think like all of us, it's just really practicing, getting jobs, learning on the job as well. And just practicing doing contracts, freelance contracts for friends and families, like Julia had suggested. That's also a big one for me. And just basically asking companies to hire me and showing them that I'm willing to put in the work, I think that's how. And also just side projects, side hustles.
That's great. I love it. Oh, let us take a final look at the spread, and then we'll have to kind of close up and find a little moment um, to put in some final words
Here we
or
go.
anything you want to say.
These are our final spreads from our magazine. It's cool.
This is
I like it.
awesome.
It's really fun. It's really fun. Do you guys have a favorite? I think my
I'm
favorite.
still. Yeah,
The
go
green
ahead.
one. I think the green one's my favorite. Fall into a Wikipedia rabbit hole.
Well, color is always great, and I think you did such a great job. Everybody send a little applause in the chat. I think Angela was so amazing, and we've learned so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing stuff. Make sure to follow Angela on her Behance and on her Instagram, and you can find her Behance in the info tab above the chat. Otherwise, guys, I think this was such a great session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And
Thank you
thanks,
so much.
Angela. And stay tuned for the next stream. Have a great day and have a great day, rest of your week. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.